My chosen one, something is happening around you right now that you were never meant to ignore. This is not just another message. This is not just another moment in your day. This is a divine interruption. Because what I am about to reveal may shake you, but it will also awaken you. Archangel Michael is speaking clearly. Your peace is not simply fading, it is being targeted. Yes, targeted. Through distractions you have mistaken as normal parts of your life. Have you noticed it? That strange restlessness that appears out of nowhere. The way your mind refuses to stay still, even in moments that should feel calm. A sudden urge to check something, do something, think about something else, anything but remain present. You may have called it stress or just life being busy. But what if I told you that this is not random? What if I told you that these distractions are carefully placed, subtly designed to pull you away from your center? Archangel Michael is revealing a hidden truth that very few are willing to see. There is a quiet war happening, not outside, but within you. A war for your attention. A war for your stillness. Because your peace is powerful. Your calm mind is not weak. It is a direct connection to divine clarity. And that connection is what the enemy fears most. That is why the distractions never come loudly at first. They come disguised. A notification here. A random thought there. An unnecessary worry that suddenly feels urgent. A conversation that drains your energy. And before you realize it, your peace is gone, replaced by noise. Endless, exhausting noise. But listen carefully. This is the moment everything begins to change. Because the fact that you are hearing this right now means you have been chosen to become aware. Not everyone sees this. Not everyone feels this. But you were meant to recognize it. There is something else you need to understand, and it may surprise you. Some of these distractions are not just external. They are being amplified through patterns you've unknowingly accepted. Habits that keep your mind occupied but your spirit disconnected. And the more this happens, the further you drift from your true state of peace, the very state where divine guidance flows effortlessly into your life. Archangel Michael stands beside you in this moment, not with fear, but with truth and protection. This message is not meant to alarm you. It is meant to awaken you. Because once you see the pattern, it loses its power over you. Once you recognize the distraction, you can choose stillness. And in that stillness, everything changes. But here is the deeper revelation. This targeting of your peace is not happening without reason. There is something ahead of you. Something significant. A shift. A breakthrough. A moment that requires you to be fully present, fully aligned, and fully aware. And if your peace is disturbed, you may miss it. That is why this message found you now. Not later. Not yesterday. Right now. So ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you truly felt still? When was the last time your mind was quiet, your heart was light, and your spirit felt at ease? If that moment feels distant, then understand this. It was not taken from you by accident. But do not fear, because what has been disrupted can be restored. And this is only the beginning of what you are about to uncover. There is something you must begin to see with new eyes, because what is happening is far deeper than ordinary stress or daily pressure. The battle for your peace is being fought in a place most people overlook, the quiet space of your own mind. And this battle does not announce itself with alarms or obvious signs. It moves silently, patiently, and persistently, shaping your thoughts until you begin to believe that the chaos you feel is simply part of who you are. But it is not. Archangel Michael is revealing that distractions are not just interruptions. They are carefully timed intrusions designed to weaken your focus and scatter your energy. Every time your mind jumps from one thought to another without rest, every time you feel overwhelmed without a clear reason, something is pulling you away from your natural state of peace. And the more this happens, the more disconnected you become from your inner clarity. Think about how your day unfolds. You begin with intention, perhaps even with calmness. But then something shifts. A sudden thought enters your mind, something you forgot to do, something that worries you, something that pulls your attention away. Then another thought follows, and another. Before long, your mind is crowded, your energy feels heavy, and that quiet peace you once had has disappeared. It feels normal because it happens so often. But this pattern is not natural. It is learned, reinforced, and, in many cases, influenced. This is how the invisible war operates. It does not need dramatic events to disturb you. It works through accumulation. Small distractions, repeated over time, create a constant state of inner noise. And in that noise, you begin to lose your ability to hear what truly matters, your intuition, your spiritual guidance, your sense of direction. Archangel Michael warns that when your mind is constantly occupied, you become easier to mislead. Not because you are weak, but because your clarity is clouded. Decisions become harder. Emotions become heavier. Even simple moments feel overwhelming. And all of this stems from one thing: your attention being pulled in too many directions at once. There is also something else happening beneath the surface. When your mind is distracted, your spirit cannot fully anchor itself in the present moment. You begin to live either in the past or in the future, rarely in the now. And yet, it is only in the present moment that peace truly exists. This is why distractions are so effective. They do not just steal your time, they steal your presence. You may have noticed this in subtle ways. Moments when you are physically somewhere but mentally somewhere else. Conversations where you hear words but do not feel connected. Times when you try to relax, but your thoughts refuse to slow down. These are not random experiences. They are signs that your mind has been trained to move constantly, never settling, never resting. But here is the truth that changes everything. Your mind was never meant to function this way. You were created with the ability to experience deep stillness, clear focus, and inner peace. That state is not something you have to earn. It is something that already belongs to you. It has simply been covered by layers of distraction. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian over your mental space, urging you to reclaim what has been slowly taken. He is not asking you to fight harder or think more. He is guiding you towards something much simpler, yet far more powerful: awareness. Because the moment you become aware of how distractions are operating in your life, they begin to lose their control over you. And this is where your transformation begins. Not through force, not through struggle, but through recognition. When you notice the patterns, when you see how your attention is being pulled, you create a space between you and the distraction. And in that space, peace has a chance to return. But there is still more you must uncover. Because the signs of this spiritual distraction are already present in your life, waiting to be recognized. There are signs all around you right now, quiet signals that something deeper is interfering with your peace. These signs are not dramatic or obvious at first. They are subtle, almost easy to ignore. But once you begin to notice them, you will realize they have been present for a long time, shaping your thoughts, your emotions, and even your sense of self. Archangel Michael is calling your attention to these signs, not to frighten you, but to awaken your awareness. Because what you once dismissed as normal may actually be the very evidence you need to understand what has been happening within you. One of the first signs is a constant lack of focus. You may sit down with a clear intention, ready to complete a task or simply to rest. But within moments, your mind begins to wander. It jumps from one thought to another, pulling you in different directions. You start something, then feel the urge to check something else. You try to stay present, but something inside you resists stillness. This is not laziness, and it is not a lack of discipline. It is distraction at work, quietly pulling your attention away from where it is meant to be. Another sign is sudden and unexplained anxiety. There are moments when nothing is outwardly wrong, yet you feel uneasy. A sense of pressure builds inside you without a clear cause. Your thoughts begin to spiral, creating scenarios that drain your energy. This anxiety feels real, but its source is often rooted in the constant noise that surrounds your mind. When your inner space is crowded, even the smallest thought can grow into something overwhelming. You may also notice a pattern of constant interruptions. Just as you begin to feel calm or focused, something disrupts you. A message appears, a thought interrupts, a situation demands your attention. These interruptions may seem harmless on their own, but together they create a rhythm of disruption that keeps you from ever fully settling into peace. It is as if your calm is being tested again and again, never allowed to fully take hold. Emotional instability is another powerful sign. You may feel balanced one moment and then suddenly overwhelmed the next. Small things begin to affect you more deeply than they once did. Reactions become stronger, patience becomes thinner, and your emotional state feels unpredictable. This is not because you have changed at your core. It is because your inner peace has been disturbed, and without that foundation, emotions can rise and fall more easily. There is also a deeper sign that many overlook: the feeling of disconnection. You may go through your day completing tasks, speaking with others, even smiling and engaging, yet something feels distant inside you. A quiet emptiness, a sense that you are not fully present in your own life. This disconnection is one of the clearest indicators that distractions have pulled you away from your center. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that none of these signs define you. They are not who you are. They are symptoms of something interfering with your natural state of peace. And the most important truth is this: what has been influenced can also be restored. What you thought was just stress is not. What you believed was simply how life is not the full truth. There is a deeper layer to everything you are experiencing, and now you are beginning to see it. Take a moment and reflect honestly. How many of these signs have you experienced? How often have you felt your focus slip away, your emotions rise unexpectedly, your peace disappear without explanation? This is not a coincidence. It is a pattern. And now that you can see it, you are no longer under its complete control. Because awareness breaks the cycle. And as this awareness grows within you, Archangel Michael stands closer than ever, guiding you back to clarity, back to stillness, back to the peace that was always meant to be yours. Type "I see the truth" in the comments if this is speaking directly to your spirit. Blessing code 739 has just been released. And as this truth settles into your heart, understand this: when you respond to a divine message like this, you are not just listening, you are participating in something greater. The same way distractions have tried to spread, peace must also be carried forward. When you choose to support this mission, you become a vessel through which clarity reaches others who are still lost in noise. God is saying to you right now, as you sow into the light will return to you in abundance. This is not just a phrase, it is a living promise. When you give, you are planting seeds in souls you may never meet, yet your impact will echo in their awakening. If you feel this stirring within you, say it with intention: I am ready to be a channel of peace. That moment of action is sacred. There is a window open right now, a moment where your response carries power. Do not delay it. The PayPal link in the description and the QR code on your screen are not just options. They are invitations to step into alignment with this purpose. As you give, may your life be filled with multiplied peace, clarity, and divine protection. Act now, and let your offering become part of someone else's awakening. There is a reason your peace is being targeted, and it is far more significant than you may have ever imagined. This is not just about feeling calm or having a quiet moment in your day. Your peace holds a power that reaches far beyond emotion. It is a sacred state, a divine alignment that connects you directly to clarity, wisdom, and protection. And that is exactly why it is under attack. Archangel Michael reveals that peace is not passive. It is not weakness. It is strength in its purest form. When you are truly at peace, your mind is clear, your heart is steady, and your spirit is open. In that state, you are able to discern what is true and what is false. You are able to make decisions without confusion. You are able to feel guided rather than lost. This is the version of you that cannot easily be shaken or misled. But when your peace is disturbed, everything begins to shift. Your thoughts become clouded. Doubt starts to creep in. You second-guess yourself, even in situations where you once felt confident. This is not because you have lost your ability. It is because your connection to clarity hath been interrupted. And without that connection, even simple choices can begin to feel overwhelming. This is why distractions are so effective. They do not need to destroy your peace completely. They only need to weaken it. Even a slight disturbance can create enough noise to block the flow of guidance you were meant to receive. And once that flow is interrupted, you may begin to rely more on fear, pressure, or external opinions rather than your inner knowing. There is something else that makes your peace incredibly valuable. It is a form of spiritual protection. When you are grounded in peace, negative influences struggle to take hold. Your energy remains stable. Your reactions are measured. You are not easily pulled into chaos or conflict. In this state, you become less vulnerable to manipulation, whether it comes from circumstances, environments, or even people around you. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian of this peace, reminding you that it is not something you have to chase. It is something that already belongs to you. But it must be protected. Because the moment you lose awareness of its importance, it becomes easier for distractions to enter and take its place. You may have noticed that certain moments in your life felt unusually clear, almost as if everything made sense. Decisions came easily. You felt aligned, confident, and calm. Those moments were not sluchaikakuyenyerie. They were glimpses of what happens when your peace is intact. In those moments, you were fully connected to yourself, to your purpose, and to divine guidance. Now consider the opposite. Times when everything felt confusing. When your thoughts were scattered, your emotions were heavy, and nothing seemed to flow. That conquest is not accidental. It is the difference between being anchored in peace and being pulled away from it. There is also a deeper reason your peace is being targeted right now. You are approaching something important. A shift, a breakthrough, a moment that requires clarity and presence. And if your peace remains disturbed, you may not recognize the opportunity when it appears. This is why the distractions have intensified. Not because you are failing, but because you are getting closer to something meaningful. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this is a critical moment of awareness. You are being shown the value of your peace so that you can begin to protect it intentionally. Not out of fear, but out of understanding. Because once you realize how powerful your peace truly is, you will no longer treat it as something small or replaceable. You will begin to notice what disturbs it. You will become more mindful of what you allow into your mind and your environment. You will start to create space for stillness, even in the middle of a busy world. And in that space, something powerful begins to return. Clarity. The more you protect your peace, the more your clarity strengthens. And with that clarity comes direction. You begin to see what matters and what does not. You begin to recognize what aligns with you and what pulled you away. This awareness becomes your strength. But there is still more to uncover. Because understanding the value of your peace is only the beginning. You must also begin to recognize where these distractions are coming from and what is truly behind them. Now that you understand how valuable your peace truly is, the next truth must be revealed. These distractions that have been pulling you away from your center, they are not appearing without a source. They are not random, and they are not meaningless. There are origins behind them, layers of influence that operate both externally and internally, shaping the way you think, feel, and respond. Archangel Michael is guiding you to look deeper, beyond what is visible on the surface. Because if you only focus on the distractions themselves, you will miss what is creating them. And once you begin to see the source, everything starts to make sense in a way it never did before. One of the most common sources is the external environment around you. The world you move through every day is filled with constant stimulation. Sounds, conversations, digital noise, endless information, all of it competing for your attention. This environment trains your mind to stay active at all times, leaving little room for stillness. Over time, your mind begins to expect this level of stimulation, and silence starts to feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. But there is more to this than just a busy world. Some environments carry energy that does not align with your peace. Places filled with tension, negativity, or unresolved emotions can subtly affect your inner state. You may enter feeling calm, but leave feeling drained or unsettled without understanding why. This is because energy is not always visible, but it is always present. Another source that must be approached with awareness is the people around you. Not everyone who enters your life carries the same intention or energy. Some individuals, even without realizing it, can bring disruption into your space. Their words, their moods, their presence can influence your thoughts and emotions. You may notice that after certain interactions, your mind becomes more restless, your emotions heavier, your peace harder to find. This does not mean these people are intentionally causing harm. Often, they are simply carrying their own unresolved noise, and that noise transfers into your space. But Archangel Michael warns that discernment is necessary. Not everyone is meant to have the same level of access to your energy. Protecting your peace sometimes means creating distance, even when it feels difficult. Then there is the influence of technology, one of the most powerful sources of distraction in your life. It is designed to capture your attention, to keep you engaged, to pull you in again and again. Every notification, every update, every piece of content is created to hold your focus for as long as possible. And while it may seem harmless, its impact on your mind is significant. You may tell yourself that you are just checking something quickly, but minutes turn into hours. Your thoughts become fragmented, jumping from one thing to another. And when you step away, your mind continues to race, unable to settle. This is not by accident. It is a system built to keep your attention occupied, leaving little space for the stillness where your peace resides. There is also a deeper, more personal source, your own internal patterns. These are habits of thought and reaction that have formed over time. Perhaps you have become used to worrying, overthinking, or constantly planning ahead. These patterns create a cycle where your mind rarely rests, even when there is no immediate reason for it to be active. Archangel Michael reveals that these internal patterns often begin as responses to past experiences, but over time, they become automatic, running in the background of your mind without your awareness. And as long as they remain unrecognized, they continue to fuel distraction from within. But here is where the truth becomes empowering. None of these sources have absolute power over you. They only influence you to the extent that you remain unaware of them. The moment you begin to see them clearly, their hold begins to weaken. You start to notice how certain environments affect you. You become more aware of how different people influence your energy. You recognize when technology is pulling you away from your presence. And most importantly, you begin to observe your own thoughts without being controlled by them. This awareness creates a shift. You are no longer simply reacting to distractions, you are understanding them. And in that understanding, you gain the ability to choose differently. Archangel Michael stands with you in this moment of realization, not to separate you from the world, but to strengthen your ability to move through it without losing yourself. Because the goal is not to eliminate every source of distraction, but to rise above their influence. And as this awareness deepens, you will begin to see something even more clearly. One of the greatest traps you have been drawn into is not just distraction itself, but the constant state of busyness that keeps you from ever noticing it. There is a trap that many fall into without ever realizing it, a pattern so widely accepted that it rarely gets questioned. It is the constant need to stay busy, to keep moving, to always be doing something. On the surface, it appears productive. It feels responsible. It even gives a sense of purpose. But beneath it lies one of the most powerful forms of distraction you will ever encounter. Archangel Michael reveals that busyness is not always a sign of progress. In many cases, it is a carefully maintained state that keeps you from facing stillness. Because in stillness, truth becomes clear. In stillness, you begin to see what is really happening within you. And for many, that clarity feels unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. So the cycle continues. You fill your time. You move from one task to another. You tell yourself that there is always something that needs to be done. And even when you try to rest, your mind searches for something to occupy itself. This is not accidental. It is a pattern that has been reinforced over time, shaping the way you live your daily life. Overstimulation plays a major role in this trap. Your senses are constantly engaged. Sounds, screens, conversations, information flowing without pause. Your mind becomes accustomed to this level of input, and when it is suddenly removed, it does not know how to respond. Silence feels strange. Stillness feels empty. And so you return to what feels familiar, even if it drains you. But here is the truth that must be understood. Your spirit was never designed to function in constant motion. There is a natural rhythm within you that requires both activity and rest. When that balance is lost, your inner world begins to suffer. You may continue to function outwardly, completing tasks and meeting responsibilities, but internally, something becomes misaligned. Archangel Michael is guiding you to recognize that busyness can become a form of avoidance. Not always intentional, but deeply ingrained. It keeps you from asking certain questions. It keeps you from noticing certain feeling. It keeps you from sitting with yourself long enough to understand what your spirit is trying to communicate. There is a reason why moments of quiet often bring unexpected thoughts to the surface. It is because those thoughts have been waiting for space to be heard. But when your life is filled with constant activity, that space never arrives. And so, the deeper parts of your awareness remain buried beneath layers of distraction. You may have experienced this without fully realizing it. Times when you finally slowed down, and suddenly your mind begins to process things you had been avoiding. Emotions surface. Realizations begin to form. At first, it may feel overwhelming, but this is actually the beginning of clarity. This is what happens when the noise begins to fade. But the trap of busyness does not release easily. It convinces you that slowing down is unproductive. It creates a sense of urgency, making you feel as though you are falling behind if you are not constantly moving. And because this belief is reinforced by the world around you, it becomes difficult to question. Archangel Michael wants you to see beyond this illusion. True productivity is not measured by how much you do, but by how aligned you are with what truly matters. And alignment cannot be found in chaos. It is found in stillness, in awareness, in the quiet moments where your mind is no longer being pulled in every direction. There is also a deeper danger in constant overstimulation. When your mind is always occupied, it loses its ability to focus deeply. Your attention becomes fragmented. You begin to skim through experiences rather than fully engage with them. And over time, this weakens your connection to the present moment, the very place where peace exists. But the moment you begin to step out of this pattern, even slightly, something shifts. You start to notice how much noise hath been surrounding you. You become aware of how often you reach for distractions without thinking. And in that awareness, a new choice becomes possible. You can choose to pause. You can choose to create moments of stillness, even if they feel unfamiliar at first. You can begin to reconnect with the quiet space within you that has been waiting patiently beneath all the noise. Archangel Michael stands beside you, not asking you to abandon your responsibilities, but to approach them differently. To move with intention rather than urgency. To allow space for reflection rather than constant motion. Because it is in that space that your peace begins to return. And as you begin to slow down, you may start to remember something important. There was a time when your inner calm came naturally. A time before the noise became constant, before the distractions became overwhelming. A moment in your life when peace was not something you had to search for, it was simply there. There was a moment in your life when everything felt different. A time when your mind was not constantly racing, when your heart felt lighter, when peace was not something you had to chase. It was simply there, surrounding you, grounding you. You may not have realized it at the time, but that inner calm was your natural state. It was who you were before the noise began to take over. Archangel Michael invites you now to gently look back, not with regret, but with awareness. Because somewhere along your journey, something shifted. It did not happen all at once. It was gradual, almost unnoticeable at first. A small increase in responsibility. A few more worries than before. A little less time for stillness. And slowly, without you realizing it, your inner calm began to fade. Think about those earlier moments in your life. Times when you could sit quietly without feeling restless. Times when your thoughts did not demand constant attention. There was a simplicity in the way you experienced the world. You were more present, more connected, more at ease. That version of you still exists. It has not been lost. It has only been covered by layers of distraction and overstimulation. The shift often begins when life becomes more complex. Expectations grow. Responsibilities increase. The world around you becomes louder, faster, more demanding. And in response, your mind adapts. It starts to think more, plan more, anticipate more. At first, this feels necessary. It feels like growth. But over time, It creates a pattern where your mind rarely rests. Archangel Michael reveals that this is the moment where many begin to lose their connection to inner calm. Not because they are doing something wrong, but because they are unaware of what is happening. The mind becomes the center of everything, constantly active, constantly processing. And the quiet space where peace once lived begins to shrink. There may have been specific moments that deepen the shift, experiences that brought stress, uncertainty, or emotional weight into your life. These moments leave an imprint. They teach your mind to stay alert, to stay active, to stay prepared. And while this may have been a natural response at the time, it often continues long after the moment has passed. You may not even realize how much these experiences have shaped your current state. They influence how you think, how you react, how you move through your day. They create patterns that feel automatic, as if this is simply how life is meant to be. But Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this is not your true nature. Your true nature is calm. It is steady. It is grounded. The distractions you face today have built upon that initial shift. They have layered themselves over your awareness, reinforcing the idea that constant activity is normal, that restlessness is expected, that peace is something rare, something temporary. But this belief is not the truth. It is the result of conditioning. There is also an emotional aspect to this loss of calm that must be acknowledged. When your inner peace begins to fade, your connection to yourself becomes less clear. You may start to feel uncertain about your direction. You may question your decisions more often. You may feel as though something is missing, even if you cannot fully explain what it is. This feeling is not emptiness. It is disconnection. A quiet signal from within, reminding you that something essential has been overshadowed. Archangel Michael is not bringing you back to the past. He's guiding you to recognize what was always yours, so you can reclaim it in the present. Because the peace you once felt is not gone. It has simply been waiting beneath the surface, untouched by the noise above it. As you begin to understand this, something powerful happens. You stop seeing your current state as permanent. You begin to realize that what was lost can be restored, not by returning to who you were, but by reconnecting with what has always been within you. And this realization changes everything. Because once you know that your peace is still there, waiting for you, the distractions begin to lose their authority. They no longer define your experience. They become something you can observe, something you can move beyond. Archangel Michael stands with you in this moment of remembrance, reminding you that your inner calm is not a distant memory. It is a present reality, ready to be reclaimed. And now, the path forward begins to reveal itself. Because breaking free from these distractions is not only possible, it is already beginning within you. There comes a moment when awareness is no longer enough. A moment when you realize that seeing the pattern is only the beginning, and something within you begins to ask for more. Not more noise, not more activity, but more truth, more clarity, more peace. This is the moment where change begins, and Archangel Michael is guiding you directly into it. Breaking free from the cycle of distraction does not require force. It does not demand perfection. It begins with a simple but powerful shift, the decision to no longer be controlled by what once felt automatic. This decision may feel small at first, almost invisible, but it carries a strength that grows with every step you take. The first step is awareness in action. Not just noticing distractions, but gently stepping back from them. When your mind begins to race, when your attention is pulled in multiple directions, pause. Do not react immediately. Do not follow every thought. Instead, observe it. This space between the thought and your response is where your power returns. Archangel Michael emphasizes that stillness is not something you need to create. It is something you allow. It exists beneath the surface of your thoughts, waiting for you to stop feeding the noise. Even a few moments of intentional quiet can begin to shift your entire inner state. It may feel unfamiliar at first, but that is only because you are reconnecting with something that has been neglected. Another step in breaking this cycle is setting boundaries, not just with people, but with everything that enters your awareness. You begin to choose what deserves your attention and what does not. This means becoming more mindful of how you spend your time, what you consume, and who you allow into your space. It is not about isolation, it is about protection. You may start to notice that certain habits no longer serve you. The constant checking, the endless scrolling, the need to always be occupied. These habits may feel automatic, but they can be gently released. Archangel Michael encourages you to replace these patterns with moments of presence. Instead of reaching for distraction, you begin to return to yourself. There is also a deeper practice that begins to anchor this transformation, connection through intention. Whether it is through prayer, quiet reflection, or simply sitting in silence, you begin to create space for something greater to enter. In that space, guidance becomes clearer. Your thoughts become calmer. Your emotions begin to settle. You do not have to do everything at once. This is not about immediate transformation. It is about consistent, intentional steps. Each moment you choose stillness over noise, clarity over confusion, presence over distraction, you weaken the cycle that once controlled you. Archangel Michael stands beside you as a protector and guide, helping you cut through the layers of confusion that once surrounded you. His presence is not distant. It is felt in the moments when you choose peace, when you choose awareness, when you choose to return to your center. And as you begin to take these steps, something remarkable starts to happen. The distractions do not disappear immediately, but their influence begins to fade. They no longer hold the same power over your mind. You begin to notice them without being consumed by them. You begin to move through your day with a sense of control that once felt impossible. There is a quiet strength that grows within you during this process, a sense of stability that does not depend on external conditions. You begin to feel grounded, even in the middle of a busy world. This is the return of your peace, not as something fragile, but as something resilient. And with this return comes clarity. You start to see what truly matters. You begin to recognize what aligns with your spirit and what does not. Decisions become easier. Your mind becomes lighter. Your presence becomes stronger. This is what it means to break free. Not escaping the world, but no longer being controlled by its noise. Type "I reclaim my peace" in the comments if you feel this shift happening within you. Blessing code 842 has just been released. And as you take this step of reclaiming your peace, understand that your action carries a ripple far beyond yourself. This moment is not only about your freedom, it is about opening a path for others who are still caught in this cycle. When you choose to give into this mission, you are not supporting a channel. You are sowing seeds of light into hearts that are waiting to awaken. God is speaking directly to you. As you pour into this work, I will pour back into your life, pressed down and overflowing. Let this truth move you. Say within yourself, I am part of this divine flow. This is your moment to act, not later, not someday, now. The PayPal link in the description and the QR code before you are sacred doorways for your obedience. As you release your offering, may your mind be cleared, your spirit strengthened, and your peace multiplied beyond what you have known. Step forward in faith and give as you are being called. Now that you have begun to break free from the cycle of distraction, there is something equally important that must follow: protection. Because reclaiming your peace is powerful, but maintaining it requires intention. The world around you has not changed overnight. The noise still exists. The distractions are still present. But what changes now is how you move through it. Archangel Michael is guiding you into a new level of awareness, where your peace is no longer something that comes and goes without control. It becomes something you guard, something you nurture, something you carry with you wherever you go. And this begins with understanding that your energy is valuable. It is not unlimited, and it is not meant to be given away carelessly. Each day, you are faced with countless moments that either protect your peace or slowly drain it. These moments may seem small, almost insignificant, but over time, they shape your entire inner state. The way you start your morning, the thoughts you allow to settle in your mind, the environments you step into, the conversations you engage in, all of these play a role in either strengthening or weakening your peace. One of the first practices Archangel Michael encourages is intentional beginnings. The way you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If your first moments are filled with noise, urgency, or distraction, your mind immediately enters a reactive state. But when you begin with stillness, even for a short time, you create a foundation of calm that carries forward. This does not require anything complicated. It can be as simple as sitting in silence for a few moments, taking a deep breath, and allowing your mind to settle before the day begins. In this space, you reconnect with yourself before the world begins to pull at your attention. The simple act becomes a shield, protecting your energy from being scattered too quickly. Another essential practice is awareness throughout your day. You begin to notice when something disrupts your peace. It could be a conversation that leaves you feeling uneasy, an environment that feels heavy, or even a thought pattern that begins to spiral. Instead of ignoring these signals, you acknowledge them. You recognize that your inner state is shifting, and you gently bring yourself back. Archangel Michael reminds you that not everything requires your reaction. You do not have to engage with every thought, every situation, every piece of information that comes your way. There is power in choosing what you respond to and what you release. This choice becomes a form of protection, allowing you to move through your day without absorbing unnecessary noise. Boundaries also become an important part of this protection, not as a form of rejection, but as a form of self-respect. You begin to understand that your time and energy are sacred. This may mean limiting certain interactions, stepping away from environments that drain you, or simply giving yourself permission to say no when something does not align with your peace. There is also a deeper level of protection that comes from grounding yourself in the present moment. When your mind begins to drift into worry or overthinking, you gently bring it back to where you are. You focus on your breath, your surroundings, your current experience. This practice may seem simple, but it is incredibly powerful. It pulls you out of the noise and anchors you in clarity. Archangel Michael stands as a constant presence in this process, offering protection not just externally, but within your awareness. His guidance becomes clearer as you become more intentional with your energy. You begin to sense when something is not right, when something is pulling you away from your center. And instead of ignoring it, you respond with awareness. Over time, these practices become natural. You no longer have to force yourself to protect your peace. It becomes part of who you are. You move differently. You think differently. You respond differently. And the more consistent you become, the stronger your inner stability grows. There will still be moments where distractions appear. There will still be situations that test your calm. But the difference now is that you are no longer unprepared. You have awareness. You have intention. You have the ability to return to your center, no matter what is happening around you. This is what daily protection looks like. Not perfection, but consistency. Not isolation, but awareness. Not resistance, but alignment. And as you continue to strengthen this protection, you will begin to notice something even more revealing. Some of the distractions you face are not just coming from situations or habits, they are connected to the people around you, in ways you may not have fully realized. There is a truth that requires both courage and clarity to face, and Archangel Michael is guiding you gently into this realization. Not every influence in your life comes from your environment or your habits alone. Some of the most powerful effects on your peace come through the people around you. This does not mean you are surrounded by harm or ill intent, but it does mean that every connection carries energy, and not all energy aligns with your peace. You may have already felt this without fully understanding it. There are certain people you interact with, and afterward, something within you feels unsettled. Your mind becomes more active, your emotions heavier, your clarity weaker. It may not happen immediately, but over time, the pattern becomes noticeable. And yet, because these connections may feel familiar or even important, it becomes easy to overlook what they are doing to your inner state. Archangel Michael is not asking you to judge or reject others. He is asking you to discern. There is a difference. Discernment allows you to recognize how someone's presence affects you without attaching blame or negativity. It is a quiet awareness that helps you understand what aligns with your peace and what does not. Some individuals carry a constant sense of urgency, worry, or negativity. When you spend time around them, their state begins to influence yours. Conversations may revolve around problems, complaints, or fears. Over time, this begins to shape your own thinking, even if you were once grounded in calmness. This is how distraction can enter through relationships, subtly, gradually, and often unnoticed. There are also those who unintentionally demand your energy. They may rely on you heavily, pulling your attention toward their needs, their emotions, their situations. While compassion is important, there must also be balance. When your energy is constantly directed outward, without restoration, your inner peace begins to weaken. You may start to feel drained, even when you have done nothing physically exhausting. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that protecting your peace does not mean withdrawing from others completely. It means becoming aware of how much access you allow. Not every conversation needs to be long. Not every situation requires your full emotional involvement. Sometimes, protecting your peace means stepping back, even slightly, so that you can remain centered. There is also a more subtle influence that must be recognized. Some people may not disturb your peace through negativity, but through constant activity. They keep you busy, engaged, always doing something. While this may feel enjoyable or productive, it can still contribute to the loss of stillness. Your mind remains active, your attention constantly directed outward, and your inner calm slowly fades into the background. This is why discernment becomes essential. You begin to notice not just how people make you feel emotionally, but how they affect your mental state. Do you feel more grounded after spending time with them, or more scattered? Do you feel calm or restless? These are the signals that guide your awareness. Archangel Michael stands with you as you begin to see these patterns more clearly. He does not ask you to create distance out of fear, but out of understanding. Because when you are clear about what supports your peace, you naturally begin to make different choices. You may spend less time in certain environments. You may limit certain conversations. You may choose to prioritize moments of solitude, not as isolation, but as restoration. There is also a deeper truth within this realization. As you protect your peace, you begin to change the way others experience you. Your calm becomes steady. Your responses become measured. You are no longer easily pulled into chaos or emotional turbulence. And in many cases, this creates a shift in your relationships. Some may begin to respect your boundaries, while others may drift away if they no longer resonate with your energy. This is not loss, it is alignment. Not everyone is meant to walk with you at the same level of awareness, and that is okay. What matters is that you remain true to your inner state, rather than allowing external influences to pull you away from it. Archangel Michael reminds you that your peace is not something to be negotiated. It is something to be honored. And as you continue to honor it, you create a life that reflects that inner stability. You begin to attract different experiences, different conversations, different connections. Ones that support your clarity rather than disrupt it. Ones that allow you to remain grounded rather than scattered. And as this shift continues, something powerful begins to return. A sense of alignment, a sense of direction, a clarity that feels steady and real. Because when distractions lose their hold, and your peace is protected, you begin to step back into the state you were always meant to live in. A state where everything becomes clear again. There is a shift that begins quietly, almost gently, after you have walked through awareness, protection, and discernment. It does not arrive with noise or force. It comes as a calm realization, a steady presence that begins to settle within you. This is the return of your clarity. This is the moment where everything that once felt scattered starts to come back into alignment. Archangel Michael reveals that clarity is not something you need to chase. It naturally returns when distractions lose their hold over you. When your mind is no longer overwhelmed. When your energy is no longer constantly drained. When your attention is no longer pulled in every direction. Something powerful begins to emerge. You begin to see clearly again, not just your surroundings but yourself. You may start to notice that your thoughts feel different. They are no longer racing or overlapping. They move with purpose. There is space between them, a sense of order that was not there before. Decisions that once felt complicated begin to feel simple. Not because life has become easier, but because your mind is no longer clouded. This clarity also brings a renewed sense of direction. You begin to understand what truly matters to you. The things that once consumed your attention may no longer feel important. The noise that once felt urgent begins to fade into the background. And in its place, a quiet knowing starts to guide you. Archangel Michael stands beside you in this transformation, strengthening your connection to this inner knowing. His presence becomes more noticeable in the moments of stillness, in the clarity of your thoughts, in the calm confidence that begins to replace doubt. This is not something external being given to you. It is something being restored within you. There is also a sense of alignment that begins to take shape. Your actions, your thoughts, and your feelings start to move in harmony. You are no longer pulled in different directions internally. There is a consistency in how you respond to life. You feel grounded, even when situations around you are uncertain. This alignment changes the way you experience everything. Challenges may still arise, but they no longer shake you in the same way. You approach them with clarity rather than confusion. You respond with intention rather than reaction. And because of this, you begin to move through life with a sense of control that once felt out of reach. You may also notice that opportunities begin to appear more clearly. Moments that you might have overlooked before now stand out. You recognize what aligns with your path and what does not. This is not coincidence. It is the result of your restored awareness. When your mind is clear, you are able to see what was always there, waiting for you to notice. Archangel Michael reminds you that this clarity is not temporary. It is not something that will disappear as long as you continue to protect your peace. The more you honor your inner state, the stronger this clarity becomes. It becomes your foundation, something you can rely on regardless of what is happening around you. There is also a deeper sense of trust that begins to grow within you. Trust in your decisions. Trust in your direction. Trust in the process unfolding in your life. Distrust replaces the doubt that once held you back. You no longer feel the need to question every step. You move forward with confidence, knowing that you are aligned with something greater. This is what divine alignment feels like. It is not dramatic or overwhelming. It is steady, calm, and certain. It is the feeling of being exactly where you need to be, even if everything is not yet fully revealed. It is the understanding that you are moving in the right direction, guided by a clarity that comes from within. And as this alignment deepens, your peace becomes unshakable. Not because the world has become quiet, but because you have found stillness within it. The distractions that once controlled your attention no longer have the same effect. They may appear, but they do not take hold. Archangel Michael stands as a constant guardian in this state, reminding you that what you have reclaimed is powerful. Your clarity is your strength. Your peace is your foundation. And together, they guide you forward. You are no longer lost in noise. You are no longer pulled away from yourself. You are present, aware, and aligned. And now, as this journey comes to its final stage, something even more comforting begins to unfold. A sense of restoration, a reassurance that what has been disturbed has now been made whole again. My beloved soul, feel this moment gently. There is no rush now, no pressure, no noise demanding your attention. What you have walked through has brought you here, not to a place of confusion, but to a place of restoration. A quiet, steady return to the peace that was always yours. Archangel Michael stands beside you now, not as a warning voice, but as a comforting presence. The message that began with urgency now settles into reassurance. What was once disturbed within you has not been destroyed. It has been uncovered, understood, and brought back into alignment. You may notice it already, the difference within you. The way your thoughts feel lighter. The way your breathing feels deeper. The way your mind no longer feels as crowded as it once did. This is not your imagination. This is your restoration unfolding in real time. Peace is returning to you, not as something fragile, but as something grounded. Something real. Something that does not depend on everything around you being perfect. It exists within you now, steady and present, waiting only for your awareness to keep it alive. Archangel Michael wants you to understand this deeply. You are not the same as you were before this message found you. Something has shifted. You have seen what was hidden. You have recognized what was influencing you. And because of that, you now carry a level of awareness that cannot be taken from you. There will still be moments in life where distractions try to return. There will still be noise, still be movement, still be situations that test your calm. But you are no longer unaware. You are no longer unprepared. You know what to do. You know how to return to yourself. And that is your power. Your peace is no longer something that can be easily shaken. It is something you understand, something you protect, something you choose again and again. And with each choice, it becomes stronger. There is also a gentle reminder being placed on your heart right now. You are not alone in this journey. Archangel Michael continues to walk with you, guiding you, protecting you, strengthening your awareness in ways you may not always see, but will always feel. His presence is not distant. It is with you in your quiet moments, in your clear thoughts, in your calm decisions. Trust that. Trust that what has been restored will continue to grow. Trust that your clarity will deepen. Trust that your life will begin to reflect the peace you now carry within you. Because this is not the end of something. It is the beginning of a new way of living. A way where you are no longer controlled by distraction, but guided by awareness. A way where your mind serves you rather than overwhelms you. A way where your peace becomes your strength. Take a moment now and simply be still. Feel the calm within you. Let it settle. Let it anchor itself deeper into your being. This is your natural state. This is where you belong. And as you move forward from this moment, carry this truth with you. Your peace is yours to keep. No matter what happens around you, you have the ability to return to it. Edit it again. Type "I am at peace" in the comments if you receive this message fully. Blessing code 911 has now been activated over your life. And as this peace settles deeply into your spirit, hear this calling clearly. This message did not reach you by accident. It moved through divine timing so that your soul could awaken. Now, through you, that same light is meant to reach others who are still lost in noise. God is speaking. As you release your seed into this ground, I will cause rivers of peace to flow back into your life. Say it within yourself. I step into this divine assignment. This is not just support. It is a prophetic act of obedience. The PayPal link in the description and the QR code before you are sacred pathways to sow into this mission of awakening souls. Do not hesitate in this moment. As you give, may your life be covered in divine calm, your mind protected, and your path illuminated with clarity. Move now. Give as you are being called.